our revocation.
I'm certain that we're all aware that this area was occupied long before we arrived. I'm choosing to use a Native American prayer, not from Kalapuya, but from Lakota Sioux. O Great Spirit, whose voice I hear in the winds, and whose breath gives life to all the world, hear me. I need your strength and wisdom. Let me walk in beauty and make my eyes ever hold the red and purple sunset. Make my hands respect the things you have made, and my ears sharp to hear your voice. Make me wise so that I may understand the things that you have taught my people. Let me learn the lessons you have hidden in every leaf and rock. Help me remain calm and strong in the face of all that comes towards me. Help me find compassion without empathy overwhelming me. I seek strength, not to be greater than my brother, but to fight my greatest enemy, myself. Make me always ready to come to you with clean hands and straight eyes, so when life fades as the fading sunset, my spirit may come to you without shame.
Thank you, Paul. Roll call. Linda?
Congratulations, 100% area signage.
It's my hope that you've reviewed the minutes from the last meeting. Are there any additions or corrections to those minutes? Do I have a motion to approve?
I move.
Say who you are.
Mary Ann Kirk.
Thank you, Mary Ann. Is there a second?
Second.
Linda? Thank you. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Treasurer's report. Bren?
Thank you. In our PEX account, we have $155.89. And in our regular checking account at Citizens Bank, we have $610.40.
Thank you. I was considering what I might say to start this meeting today, and it occurred to me that gratitude is a wide path, and it's easy for us to share. I'm grateful for those of you who have been available to meet and to talk with. I'm grateful for the support you've shown for me. I'm grateful that we are the sort of community where we can all gather and be here with this endeavor that we now undertake. So thank you. We really appreciate it. I will take this opportunity to introduce a special guest, if you would bear with me. Some of you may have hosted this special guest at your home already. If you would like to host it, please let the originator and creator know that you'd like it at your house. We want it to go home with somebody after this meeting today. Whoever takes it home, if you intend to share it, make sure that the house it's going to end up at, the residents are happy to receive it. Thank you. Welcome again to the residents who are attending today's meeting. We'd like to remind you that area reps and those on the agenda may speak. Any resident may speak to the village council by submitting a request to the council president prior to the date the agenda meeting, which is the Wednesday before council is put together. please include the topic on which you wish to speak. Area reps have the floor to ask questions during the area reps question and comment time. We also now encourage them to ask clarifying questions directed to committee persons or to staff at the time of the presentation. The rules of order specify a limit of one question for 1 minute or less in duration. Wait for the microphone, and when you speak, please hold the microphone close to your mouth and speak clearly so that everyone may hear you. State your first and last name. Every time you want to speak, please do that. And the area you represent, so your comments can be recorded in the minutes. And finally, if you wish to make a motion, you must write out your motion prior to stating it and give it to the secretary so it can be recorded properly. Papers available if you need it. You think I've got enough paper up here? Each month, it's my duty, my responsibility to report to the council regarding board meetings, and it's also my responsibility to report from the council to the board. There is no report this month from the council to the board because we didn't meet in August. And by the way, I hope you all enjoyed that sabbatical and you got to take a deep breath. My other report from the board to the council is something I've been presenting as an addendum to the agenda, and I've had a request that I don't simply present that to the secretary, but that I read it, so I'll try to do that with as much rapidity as is possible. Greystone made an in-person presentation to the board of the proposed revised expansion plan for the village. Changes from previous plan were explained in detail and discussed at length. The board voted to move forward with the proposed plan as presented. A formal presentation to independent living residents is forthcoming. The project is slated to begin in the summer-fall of 2025. Second item, board members' terms were addressed with recognition of one retiring board member. The board membership must consist of at least 6 individuals, and a decision was made to widen the range of recruitment to include a broader geographic area. Next item, CFO, CEO, and resident rep reports are all a regular part of the board discussion items. The representative did not present because there was no meeting that had occurred for me to present. Next item, the proposed budget for the coming year was presented in detail by Cliff Mars with discussion of various details by members of the board. The proposed budget was approved unanimously. And finally, the board chairman asked for reflections from the independent living representative in lieu of August meeting. They were assured that although no meeting was held, a great deal of activity had taken place. A summary statement was made that much of that activity had centered around the timing and nature of communications, seeking opportunities to improve timeliness and process. It was stated that based on those discussions, there's reason to be optimistic that we're headed in the right direction. That's my report from the board. Next item, Patricia.
Well, I am very grateful for two things for the one thing. To whoever has kept us alerted to the fact that the light situation on 54th was actually a light. I never knew that. So I really appreciate who brought that to our attention again and again. In July, I kind of took it upon myself after contacting Craig and said, what's happening here? And he very nicely gave me the information that has been happening all of last year with Jeff Parker and Grounds trying to go ahead and get the city to go ahead and trim the tree, take the tree down, do something with the tree, and all that they tried to do, but the city would not let them. So I went and I took pictures and I sent a message to Marilyn Smith, our council person. And she immediately got back to me and said that she had sent, this is July 15th, she sent the message to city with the pictures and sent me back a notice saying that we were a priority. Now, we all know what that means. So, in August 15th, a month later, I sent another message to her and said, hey, Marilyn, I haven't heard anything from the city. And she said, this is late at night, and I got a message from her late at night and saying, I'll look into it in the morning. And she did, and she said that we were going to have something done the following week. And lo and behold, if you've been there, on August 22nd in the afternoon, the light was freed, it is liberated, and we can now see. And so I think we need to tell her how appreciative we are, especially those of us who do use that side of the street, that we can now use it during the winter months and actually be able to see where we're turning into. So that was my first one. My second one is for the fish donation, and I think some of you have already gone ahead and contributed to the fish donation. This used to happen according to the men's breakfast people who said they used to have a donation site at the village that was ongoing, and it is in the coat closet here at Lakeside. And so I said okay to that too. And so we have a donation box in the code room, and the requirements, obviously food, non-perishables, nothing that's going to not be dated correctly. So I thank those of you who have already contributed, and those of you who would like to, please do. Thank you.
Thank you, Patricia. And I'd like to say for those of you who were available Saturday and happened to get there, that there was a dedication of Hub City Village, 27 living spaces for transition of homeless people at the end of our street. And I want to personally thank Patricia for her efforts herding the volunteers to help get that to happen. It was a great day and a great event, and it's a great thing for the city of Albany. Let's move to committee summary reports, and we'll start with Security Advisory Team.
Lynn McGuire. We have nothing to report, thankfully. And as always, if you see something, say something.
Thank you, Lynn. Emergency preparedness. Mel's around the other side there.
I knew you were here.
The Emergency Preparedness Committee is currently in the process of reviewing the budget items that we submitted to Craig 2 years ago. We're looking at whether we're on track or if there's things that we need to add, subtract, et cetera, et cetera. One request, if there is any resident that has architectural drawing skills, we would love to talk with you because we're looking at possibly designing and, if possible, building 6 emergency preparedness storage facilities. These 6 emergency preparedness storage facilities, what we're thinking is to make them look somewhat like the school kids' protective little cabins that you see out and around the rural communities. And our thoughts are maybe we can build these to go around certain mailboxes to where those little cabins would, one, provide out of the weather protection for residents that are accessing their mailboxes at those locations. And it would store all of the supplies such as first aid kits, et cetera, et cetera. So if anyone has architectural drawing skills, we would love to talk to you. And on last note, we just finished recording episode 4 of the walkie-talkie training program. I just finished editing it and handing it off to Janelle before we came to council. And that is going to be published in the October timeframe. It will also be placed on the resident webpage, so at any point in time, a resident wants to review the emergency preparedness videos as well as the walkie-talkie training videos, go to the resident webpage and you'll be able to see them there and watch them at your leisure. They will not be downloadable from that webpage, however.
Thank you, Mel. Grounds?
I think Barbara submitted a report, did she not, Linda? Yeah, but she's not here.
All right, thank you for that. Let's move on to the garden.
Lots of tomatoes are being shared on the gazebo table. You may even find them on the mailboxes. Thanks to all those fellow gardeners who are sharing their produce. I know the other residents do appreciate it. As the gardens wind down and you want to store items behind the wooden fence, they must be marked with weather-resistant tags with your name. Ooh. On to the turkeys. I just wanted to get the garden's perspective. I know Craig's going to have something later. I hope it's positive to get rid of them. Anyway, they're eating the tops off the onions, and then the onions stop growing. They're pecking holes in the tomatoes. Would you want to eat after the turkeys? They go into the high raised beds and eating whatever is there. The other day, I scared at least 6 out of one raised bed. All our gardeners work tirelessly to grow and distribute and whatever else they do with their garden. Even the flowers add a lot. There must be a solution. This is another request to the residents to not feed the birds, turkeys, or whatever else you want to feed. Right now, the number of turkeys is probably 75 plus. And if you count all of the hens who will nest next year, and the average clutch is probably 10 to 12. You do the math. So please ask residents in your areas not to feed anything. Thank you.
Are you ready to move on to hospitality?
Sure. Women's breakfast is September 19th. As usual, 9 a.m. in Ashwood 2 dining room. And speaker is from the Albany Police Department. I hope. I just talked to Laura. And so we're hoping to have confirmation, and the subject will be scams and fraud.
And Patricia, can you remind us who the men's breakfast speaker
Yes.
is?
So men's breakfast is going to be this Thursday, the 12th, and that's going to be Lynn County Commissioner Will Tucker. And I just want to remind everybody, for October and November, we're going to have members of Adair Living History present to us about the history of Adair as it was an Army post and Air Force base. So look forward to that.
Thank you. Janelle Villager's video productions.
Recently, some residents have indicated to me that new people aren't really clear about what this group was, or does, or is. And so I'm nervously, first of all, giving you just a brief summary and then going into the rest of my report to clear up these rumors, if you might call them that. This steering committee is comprised of 2 to 3 dozen active residents who, in different ways, help produce the videos that come from residents only that are aired on 981 or 1981 or Senior Channel 4 now, and come out each week on Sunday, starting noon. It's an activity group in the village, strictly operated by residents, just like poetry or knit and crochet or the art group or even the library committee or pickleballers or whatever. It's a life enriching activity. And I've been blessed, and so has Mel, with a lot of interested people that are helping out with this video process. We feel that 981, that the Mennonite Village TV is a great means of communicating. Well, who do we have here? I think it is our newly adopted wild animal, Ricky the raccoon. And he's here to tell us to remember to watch this show. New opportunities come up at 4 o'clock, not just 7, and not just 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So you can watch Jeopardy, you can take your nap after lunch, and you can still watch us at 4 o'clock. This idea came from a subcommittee on marketing, or residents who want you to remember to watch the show because we do think you would learn something, have some entertainment, be amused, and indeed learn more about the people here in the community. And this committee asked me to read the following statement. We are hopeful that seeing this critter will help you remember to watch Villagers videos each week. The program changes each Sunday and remains the same through Saturday. Resident-created Villagers video program is currently available on Comcast Channel 1981 or 981 and Senior TV Channel 4 at 1, 4, and 7. It's only seen in the village on Mennonite Village TV, not viewable outside the village, and is never connected to social media. We feel strongly about that. Hi, Ricky.
Who are you?
It's an hour well spent of entertaining, informal, and informational, and sometimes funny segments. Don't forget to watch each week, or this crazy critter may show up on your porch to remind you to watch Villagers videos. Yes, Ricky, you can have us go. Thank you for today. The rest of my report is to indicate that we've started a new segment on historical sites and museums, and we have several very interesting items coming up that will be listed in the addendum, not to take up any more time. Thank you.
Thank you, Janelle. Thank you, Ricky. I can tell you right now, even in the lights of the headlights at night, a raccoon will not reveal their identity. So, thanks, Ricky. Let's move on. That's going to be a hard act to follow, Darren.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm going to stay seated because I have a number of papers in front of me also today, apparently. I'll start with the topics that are listed on the agenda, and then I have a couple add-ons. Topic 1, decision-making process. This has arisen due to who makes decisions and what decisions must go through the residents, should go through the residents, can go through the residents, etc. So I had a great conversation with the village executive leadership, the council leadership, about this topic. And we will continue, and you're going to hear a common theme of communication, we will continue to work closely with all of you in communicating what is going on. We cannot promise that every decision we face will be run by the residents. Part of that is we're already slow enough making decisions without adding a lot more steps to some of our processes. Second, because we are trying to operate a nonprofit business, there are decisions that just need to be made. They can't really be voted on, and perhaps later we inform, again, depending on the topic and the subject matter. But we are committed as a group to do a better job communicating what's going on in a more timely fashion. And I've got a couple ideas as to how, not just leave you with that. Second, how questions are addressed and by whom. We want questions to be answered by the person closest to the question. And my best example from my work in the dining world is, if I don't like my steak, I'm going to get far better results if I tell the server my steak isn't cooked right. Then I'm going to get a steak that I'll probably enjoy, hopefully, right? But if I don't say anything, and then I go tell my friend, who feels sorry too, like, oh my gosh, I'm sorry you had a bad meal, and then maybe I even call the manager of the restaurant and say I had a terrible steak on Friday night, they really can't do anything about it right then, right? They can apologize. I think we're pretty good at that, maybe too good. But they can't fix my steak. So we do want things answered for you by the person closest to the question or the problem, i.e. the server, who's going to go back to the kitchen and say, let's cook Diane's steak a little bit more. She doesn't want it mooing. So, A, we don't want you to feel like you have to go to me, or you got to go to Craig, or you got to go to Sarah or Sue or whoever. We want you to be able to get answers from the people closest to you. And hopefully we will continue to empower each of them so they have that feeling and ability. If it doesn't get answered or addressed, then yes, please. We are always available to answer questions you have or bring them to the right forum to answer them for everybody. So again, I hate to put the onus on you, but if you don't get the answer, please ask so that we can get it to you. The bottle drop, and I see my good friend Holly here. So here is the deal with the bottle drop situation. So we have now implemented blue bags. If you put your bottles and cans in that blue bag, they will go to the Staff Appreciation Fund, and the Staff Appreciation Fund only, per Holly. If you put them just in your recycle, we'll recycle them for you. And here's the piece, the educational piece that perhaps people didn't know. We as employees of Mennonite Village are not allowed to take tips or gifts or money as part of our employment here. And in our resident handbook, residents, and I think everyone knows this, are not supposed to give tips or gifts or money, etc. to us. So we've got a situation where we had something going on for all the right reasons. We want to help our grounds team. We want our grounds team to have a pizza party. So we're going to give them bottles and cans, or we're going to leave bottles and cans. I want you to know two things, and I can't speak for the past, although I understand it was the same. I want every employee here to feel appreciated. Every manager that I've talked to or worked with knows that they can take their team to lunch, they can buy them pizza, they can go get them coffees, they can do whatever it is in those ranges that will make their staff feel appreciated. Obviously, some people are better at it than others, there's no question about that. That's kind of the way life is, right? I'm terrible at it, so I'll just own that. Probably everybody else is far better than I am. But just know that we strongly encourage and agree with you that our grounds team and our accounting team and our caregivers and our dining team and everybody else that works at Mennonite Village all deserve to be appreciated for what they do. So if you'll just work with me, the funds that are in the blue bags will go into staff appreciation, which benefits all employees below the director level. So not me, but that won't forget the people who work behind the scenes to get our people paid, or to get the bills out, or to work in maintenance, or maybe a less visible role in our organization. So it isn't that we don't want people appreciated, we really do. And it isn't that we're trying to squelch a good thing. We just want to do the right thing to be as fair as possible for everyone who works at Mennonite Village. And if you don't want to participate in the blue bag, that is totally fine. Obviously, you can take your cans and bottles, yourself, I'm sure everyone knows that, or you can leave them and they will be recycled accordingly. But please join me in following policies that really are in place on campus and have been since the beginning, that special gifts and parties and whatever just aren't permitted, and I'm sure all of you can understand why it isn't really fair. All of us are gonna recognize the people that we see all the time, but there's a whole lot of people in this place, 300 of us. There's a whole lot of people that do a lot of amazing things every single day. So hopefully that clarifies a little bit of that. We do acknowledge that could have been communicated better. Communication opportunity, I think number 3. Mennonite Village logo, clothing or gear, swag. We are doing some clothing wear for some of our team members, actually for all of our team members. And the idea came up, well, wouldn't it be fun if there was like a site that we could log into? I really want a fleece vest with the Mennonite Village logo, or I want a hoodie. And gee, maybe would residents ever want Mennonite logoed gear? So this is more just a test of the water of this group who's here today. Because it would be on your own, it would be you go to this particular website, you pick out what you wanted, you put in your size, you pay, and it would go directly to you. All we would do is set up the site with the manufacturer of various articles of clothing and of course the proper logo. So, is anyone in the room, or maybe I should say who in the room would be interested in the ability to buy some Mennonite Village logo gear? Or anybody, okay. Okay, Mary Ann's gonna get a present then, apparently. No one else raised their hand.
I told Diane I would be happy to wear one as a demonstration for the village that said past president on it.
All right, well, I'll talk to Craig Spivey. We may do it anyway because I know there's some staff members like myself who would like a few logo pieces, and we will send that link to Mary Ann. No, we'll send that link to everybody. And to you. Oh my gosh, I am so sorry. Yes. We'll get you one too.
No, I was gonna say, before everything, that they used to sell products with the Mennonite Village at the gift shop.
Oh,
when
wow.
they had a gift shop. We don't have one anymore.
Right. So the good thing about this is we don't have to carry any inventory. This is between each individual color, size, blah, 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 and we don't have to invest in the inventory. So good to know. I did not know that. Thank you. Yes. We haven't decided where the money would go to. I believe the money would just go to pay for the garments right now. I don't think there's any fundraising component involved. I think it would be cost of the item. Hopefully we would be able to obtain some pretty good pricing, especially given volume. So I just wanted to know the interest before we dug deeper. October council meeting, Mennonite Village Foundation. So as you know, we have a foundation. There's been some recent interest in the foundation, how it operates, its bylaws, etc. I will be able to have an update for you in October. I do not think we are going to have everything solved. This is a bit of a chicken or egg that we are unwinding with legal counsel. So we will have more information. The documents need to be updated. The board needs to be reconstituted or completely reformed. And we are having our attorney wind her way back into, do we go to the last known board we had? Or how do we thread this legal, shall we say, entanglement? The good news is the foundation has not made any decisions in the last number of years. The foundation's gifts, as restricted by the donor, have gone for those purposes only. And the foundation does only support Mennonite Village. So I hope it adds a little, at least, clarity. We are working on it. We talked about it at our board meeting last week, and we are working with an attorney because, as I say, it's kind of a tangled web that we need to unwind. And we'll get it all straightened away and straight and narrow. Nothing nefarious has occurred or been done, I can guarantee you that. And we want to get things straightened going forward. And I know Holly, who's over here on my right, is really eager to have kind of a working, engaged board, which will include some resident representation on the board as board members. So we're looking for kind of an active, engaged board. And as we go forward, there'll be times where if you're interested possibly in that, we'll be giving you a shout out. The last thing, to circle back to communication, is on the coffee chats at 11 o'clock on Wednesdays, and now it's every Wednesday. On the 18th and 25th, I'm going to give those over to communication. So I will be there, we'll have like a whiteboard or some kind of paper, we'll have some note taker. There'll be more than just me. So if you're interested in talking about how to improve what vehicles might be the best forms of communication and how to improve it, come and bring your ideas. Obviously, we think that we're using a variety of good vehicles, and obviously, given feedback, it's not either enough or the right ones. So we want to know what those are and how we can correct that. If you have regular questions that you would bring to my little chats at 11, just bring them on a piece of paper, and then I'll take care of getting those back to you.
Is that for the village,
Pardon me?
village residents come?
Yes, anybody can come, absolutely.
We've got a follow-up question for you, Diane.
Okay.
Could you tell us how the bottle drop funds will be distributed? Who will decide, and how do you make sure it's equitable?
Sure. So the funds will go into the Staff Appreciation Fund, which is typically given out around the holidays, and it's a per dollar or cent per hour worked. So if your salary was $20,000 and somebody else's was $60,000 and you both worked full time, you get the exact same amount. So it's a dollar figure based on just per hour, and then hours worked. Much as it has been distributed, in my understanding, Cliff isn't here, historically, and frankly typical of most organizations. And so it's directly following that. And then in the budgets, we do have money for like the pizza and the, grab sandwiches, get coffees, the more littler but ways to thank our team.
Judy Singer, Area 21. Just one question, because you said we could either put things out for the blue bags, but then you said if we don't put them in the blue bags, it would be recycled for us. What does that mean?
That means it'll go in the regular glass and can metal recycling bins. Without money. We won't be taking them for money.
Okay. And last, how are the blue bags exchanged for money? Who does that?
That's a Holly question. Grounds is doing that. Sorry, Holly just told me. The grounds team is doing that for us. Yep. Yep.
We got one more here, just a second.
Okay.
Now, if I can add some clarification on the blue bags. Any nonprofit organization can request these blue bags. The bottles, cans, whatever goes into them goes over to the bottle drop. The bags just get laid there, and the people at the bottle drop take care of it and send the money to the bank account that's been established for that. Exactly.
Got it. Okay, so it's like the green ones, which I know I use. Okay. Thank you, Mel. I know. I'm not going anywhere, I promise.
I'm sorry, but I didn't understand what brought about the change.
What brought about the change was twofold. One is a great way to fundraise more for our staff appreciation in a fairly easy, almost passive, if you will, way. You're going to put your stuff out for recycling anyway. You might as well put it in a blue bag and it will go for good for our team members. And secondly, when we learned more about the funds going directly to the grounds for their use only, and our desire to treat all of our employees as equally as possible.
Would you clarify what you mean by staff? Is that for the non-salaried on down? Or
No.
are you considering these bonuses?
So the monies from staff appreciation goes to people below the director level. So some of those people are salaried or exempt employees, like some of our managers and supervisors, but it does not go to the director or like obviously my level, none of us sitting up here actually. So it's our folks below the director level is the best way for me to describe it. And it is given at usually around Christmas time as a bonus.
Okay, and then also, is Grounds being compensated because they're doing all the work?
So it's not any extra work than collecting their, how they collect our recycling and garbage now. It's the same, they're just picking up the blue bag.
But you said they're taking it to the bottle drop?
No, I misunderstood. They're not. I don't know who's driving it to the bottle drop. And if they are, they'll be compensated for mileage and they do it on work time. So no one would do anything like that not on work time.
You've got another item to finish up your list?
I do? I don't think so. I think I got them all, my friend.
Question?
Diane, clarification question. You said the chats with Diane, you said the 18th?
18th and 25th.
The 25th, 2 dates, the 18th and 25th. Thank you.
And otherwise, I'll be there regular this week and every Wednesday. God bless. Thank you. Today's Monday. Hello. Marianne has a question, Joe.
Question.
Oh, a couple more, looks like.
This is more in the information for Diane. A number of people have said to me that they fear that if they ask too many questions or are too loud in their question answering, that they will be asked to leave Mennonite Village. Can you talk to that?
Sure. Thank you, Marianne. I am sorry that anyone might feel that way, but I can absolutely guarantee you that is not true. We really do not keep a record of questions or what they were or who asked. We really welcome and hope we show that we welcome your questions. You are here as our resident, as outlined by your residency and care agreement, and we would never, ever, ever ask someone to leave for asking questions or anything like that. Just isn't who we are or what we would do, legally or morally.
Oh, just a second.
Keith Miller, Area 3. We'd like to know where the blue bags are at.
That's a great question. The blue bags are right here in the coat closet, right here.
Okay, and so do we then, I went and got one, all right. And then when we put them out, do we go back and get another one? Or
I thought they were going to try that.
Craig is saying Grounds will exchange. Once you've set out one, they're going to leave you one.
Okay.
Okay?
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, Holly, you're up.
Hi everyone, I'm Holly, Director of Development and Outreach, and I'm just here to give you a quick update on the sound system here at Lakeside. As many of you know already, I'm looking into grant opportunities so that we can upgrade our sound system here. And for anyone who's familiar with grant writing, it can take a lot of time. We are on the timeline of the funders. So I'll tell you what's happened so far is that we've gotten a team out here to take a look and give us a detailed quote as to the equipment that we need, timeline, labor, all of that stuff. So we know how much this project's going to cost and how long it's going to take, and now we just need to get the funding for it. So I am seeking funding from 4 different sources for this particular project, and I do expect to hear from some of them by the early December. But beyond that, there's some application timelines that are a little further down the road. So it's going to take a little bit more time than maybe was expected in the beginning. but just know that we are working on it.
Thank you, we appreciate that. I've got a question here, Holly.
Holly, does this include this room and the classroom, or one or the other?
That's a good question. So some of the equipment that we're looking at is primarily for this room, but some of it is, I don't want to say portable, but portable, so it can be used in the classroom as well.
Okay, can we move on now to Sarah? Are we ready for you? Thanks, Holly.
I'm Sarah Hobson, I'm the Chief Operations Officer, and I've got two things today. In February, we sent out a volunteer flyer, and that's just an updated flyer on the volunteer opportunities on the campus, and I have them with me today. If anybody wants a copy or needs a copy, I got a big old stack. Thank you, I'm one-handed here. And I just recorded a video with the Village Video Group as well, just with like an update on the program, so watch for that to come in the coming weeks. Majority of the volunteer opportunities are in our care area. You do have to do a background check. That's a federal and a state requirement because we do have senior care here. Anytime you deal with seniors or children, you have to have a background check, and that checks everything. So we want to make sure everybody's safe. But there's a lot of opportunities out there. All the care areas are open now to be able to volunteer in, so I'm happy to answer questions, give me a holler, come see me in my office, email, whichever you would like. And then the flyer's got some good information. The next thing is, in the last update was a leadership connection calendar. And I just wanted to give you guys a brief overview of why that went out and what we're doing. So in some of our chapel chat, we heard that it would be really nice to get to connect with our leadership team, learn our role, our backgrounds, and what we do for Mennonite Village. And we thought that was a great idea too. So, starting in January, as that calendar shows, you'll see every month one of the leadership team able to present here in the large room where you can ask questions, have a good connection point, and learn about us. So we're super excited about it because it's a good time for us to just really sit down with each other. We don't know how the room's going to look yet, but it's meant to be an easygoing connection point with each other to learn each other. So I hope you guys enjoy that and get to be able to come.
Okay, any questions for Sarah? I'd like to let you know that these folks are not practicing for Halloween, that they had an exposure that requires them to be wearing masks today. And Sarah, I know especially with you, we hope your hand heals up soon.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Glazer.
All right, it's been a couple months since we've met, so we've got lots to go over and updates to happen. So without further ado, we're going to start with Mary's Place. Mary's Place, we have talked to several different architect groups to see if we can get one of them to come and help us out with this project. We have a couple of proposals, and so we hope to have that proposal signed by one of them in the coming weeks. And this is really going to help us move this project forward. They're going to be focusing on a feasibility study just to make sure all the things that we've been talking about with Mary's Place can actually happen. So looking forward to doing that. This project has taken more time than I would have liked to see, but we've had a lot of different projects this summer, and we're trying to raise this back up to the top so we can get this moving forward. So more to come on that. So different project updates. First of all, I wanted to update on the garden. So down in the garden, we have new boxes that will be going in soon. We have a gazebo that will be going in. After pressure washing, when the grounds crew's done with pressure washing, they will go ahead and assemble that gazebo and get that gazebo up, and for all residents to be able to enjoy that. And then we'll be starting to get the boxes placed, get those boxes filled with dirt so that we can get that ready for next spring. At Quail Run, we have a water feature going in behind the Quail Run garden, our little garden area, and then there's a little area that we've done some work on. They're going to be a water feature. This is from a grant that we received, so we're going to be having this starting The water feature is going to be going in at the end of the month, so that work will be happening. And then Comcast, all of you are familiar with our Comcast internet project. We have officially gone through with Comcast and installed this internet, and now we're going back through with work orders and making sure that everything is working and all the bugs are worked out. Many of you probably have put in work orders, and I can't stress enough the importance of work orders. If you have a problem with your internet, do a work order. Put in a work order. I would ask that you refrain from, emailing Aaron or emailing IT directly or myself, because if you email me and I'm gone for the day or I can't get that email forwarded, that's just a delay in response. So we want to get you the help that you need right away. So please do a work order so we can get that handled as soon as possible. We do know that we've had some difficulties with some printer issues and possibly some cable box connecting to the internet, so we're working with Comcast on that. We've talked to Comcast about some printer issues directly related to kind of the AirPrint feature. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So we're talking to Comcast to see if we can get some answers for that. So bear with us as we do that. But I know our IT department's working really hard to make sure that all of the tickets are getting put in and getting dealt with. So if you have something that hasn't been addressed, please make sure you get that. You can talk to me, or you can put in another work order just to make sure that we've got that on our docket. We don't want to miss something. And then another project we have going on is I've communicated with the Davidson and Ermine group on the south end of Davidson and the south end of Ermine, between Davidson and Ermine. We're going to be doing a drainage project. That means that we're going to go in and we're going to kind of regrade the ground in there. We've taken out some trees, and this area behind Davidson and Ermine has just been, in the wintertime, standing water. We have a lot of standing water. The water's not able to be drained. We've known about this for a while, and so we're going to get this project done. So we plan to have some contractors come in at the end of this month, and they're going to kind of scrape the ground, get it all leveled and graded correctly so that it'll drain. We are going to add a drainage line in there so it'll drain better. That'll get connected to our storm sewer. So communicated that with Davidson and Ermine, but wanted to let you all know when you see trucks and all the activity here, what's going on. We have our preventative maintenance schedule.
Oh, how about the kitchen? That's great.
Larry Halverson, Area 6. In this project, will that include the area behind the sixplexes on Davidson?
This project will not include that. We do have a drainage tile or drainage line behind there. So we are looking into that to make sure that it is flowing and that it is capturing the water. But we're looking at a separate issue there. This one we're focusing on with our contractors. Okay, any other questions about that? All right, we're going to move on. Our preventative maintenance schedule. So we have been working on the preventative maintenance schedule, our ongoing, this is when we go in and we schedule a time with residents to do just different things. So this includes cleaning and inspecting dryer vents, cleaning your refrigeration coils, heating and ventilation systems. This is where we go in and kind of do some different systems checks. We have worked, let's see, we've completed Becker Circle, most of Davidson, 53rd Street, and are working towards Ermine and then out east of the campus. So if you haven't, I've gotten quite a few resident questions about this, that they haven't had their preventative maintenance. This is on an annual basis that we try to do this. They haven't had that done yet. So we plan to have this completed by the end of November, all the way through campus. So between now and November, you can expect this work to be done. We do call ahead and schedule appointments. So if you, that way you're home and you're aware of what's going on. So we'll be doing that. Question back here. while you're walking, I'm just gonna talk about the spraying, just to move this on. Spraying, we're gonna be doing a spraying application for broadleaf treatment sometime in the end of September. This is kind of campus-wide. We've got a lot of different clover patches and broadleaf that we need to get kind of under wraps. So we're gonna be doing this treatment sometime in the end of September. We don't have a date yet. We're working with our contractor to kind of nail that down. It does depend on weather depending and all that. So working on that. We will announce that when we have a date for that application.
Becker Circle is not complete because I was scheduled, and that was the time the maintenance worker was ill. So Becker is not done.
Okay, we'll make sure that, I know that most of Becker has been completed, and there probably is a few stragglers. We have that documented, and we'll make sure that we get everybody completed before we wrap this up. Okay, Ashwood 1, we have been in conversation with the fire department and the police department, and they are aware that Ashwood 1 is a vacant building, and when we had I think it was our water line break last February, they were looking around and saying, is this building empty? And then they started salivating at the opportunity to come in and train. And so I've been in contact with them, and this is a great opportunity for us to partner with our police and fire that are here kind of, well, hopefully the police aren't here on a daily basis, but the fire for sure are here on a daily basis. And so we're going to partner with them, and they're going to come in and do different trainings. Now, I haven't received kind of a calendar of their trainings, and so as soon as I get that, I'll make sure that you all know what's happening. But this is just an area that they can do some training they can do some demolition exercises or different exercises they just don't get the opportunity to do. So we're excited to kind of partner with them and allow them to come into that building and do some training. So more to come on that, but we'll make sure that you're in the loop on that. Okay, our facility department structure. So I wanted to give a little bit of background of what's happened the last couple months. There's been a lot of questions, and I'll get to some rumor squashing here in a bit. But for the facility department, we are, with the vacancy of Jeff Parker leaving, we have a ground supervisor position. I wanted to take the opportunity to just look at the structure of facilities, look at the structure we have right now, to really determine what's going to be the most successful way, the most successful path forward for us serving you residents. So Andy James has really stepped up. I've asked Andy if he would be willing to take this lead role, and he has. He's taking a lead role in grounds, and he is doing he's leading grounds and making sure that we are getting all the things done that we need to get done for an intermediate time. So we also have posted a facility manager position. This person, after looking at our structure, we need another person in the ranks to be able to make sure that we are getting everything done. So this person will oversee maintenance and grounds. So this person will basically be between myself and the grounds and maintenance supervisors. This person will make sure that we have, the systems and the programs running, and the supervisors will make sure that the daily operations gets dealt with and done. So all the work orders, all of the just different programs that we have. And then also this person, facility manager, will take some of my tasks that I'm currently performing off my plate. I need to be able to turn my attention to some things that honestly only I can do as the facility director, and so I need to have that, I need to be freed up a little bit so that I can do some of those tasks. So this person will take off some of that load from me, but then also make sure that our grounds and maintenance department are running efficiently and effectively. We're looking to hire this person. We're getting close to making a hire. And so we'll keep you informed if that changes or anything like that. But really, as far as the service that we're providing for residents, nothing really is changing. It's just our department structure is going to change so that we can be effective moving forward. we need to hire this facility manager to make sure that we have kind of the structure on top dealt with before we hire or make a final decision on our ground supervisor. So getting this person in place before we say anything about the ground supervisor or make that hire, that's really important so that that person can help kind of determine what we need to do. So, all right, now to the rumor squashing. So I have had a couple different meetings with different contractors, landscape contractors. Was getting bids for them to just get an idea of what, just different services that our grounds staff provide. Mostly this was an exercise just to learn what we could possibly contract out, but then what our grounds staff does. And so what we were doing is, I've heard rumors that we're getting rid of our grounds staff. We're getting rid of our whole entire grounds department, and we are not. That's nothing further than the truth. We are keeping our ground staff. We are looking at areas that we can contract out, just from a standpoint of efficiency, and also sometimes it just makes sense. We've done this with bark dust. We looked at bark dust a couple years ago. The installation of bark dust was super time consuming, and it just made sense to have someone come in and blow that in and get it done all in one fell swoop. So there's a few areas that we're looking at for contracted services. One of these areas is pressure washing, possibly irrigation, and then snow and ice removal. So those three areas are kind of looking at contracting those out. So that's really all we're looking at. But if there's more information that comes as far as impact to residents and your services and your landscaping, we'll let you know. We'll keep you informed on that. But yeah, we are not replacing our ground staff with contractor and vendor contracts. So that is not happening. Okay, Lakeside access control. So we are going to be installing an access control system here at Lakeside Center. I think I actually saw on this door there's a little black rectangle kind of mounted just to the side of the door, and that's a card reader. And what we're doing is we're going to be installing, instead of a keypad out here, we're going to actually have an access control where residents and staff would have either a card or what we call a little fob. And this card or fob you would scan that, and then you can get into Lakeside Center. This will help with security. I know there was security concerns with the bike tour, that there's a code that gets shared, and then anybody can share that code with others, and that could be a problem. So we are planning on getting access control installed so that residents can have a card or a fob. You would come in just like a code. Instead of a code, you would scan your card, and then you would get access to Lakeside Center. So we're getting that installed right now. More to come on when and how and all that fun stuff, but we're getting that done currently, and we will announce more when we have more information on that. All right, now we got to talk about the pesky birds. So I am currently requesting a current hazing permit. I have been in contact with ODFW. I have not received a response to date from them, but I am inquiring about a hazing permit. Jeff Parker, he applied for the hazing permit. He had one last year. It did expire in March, and then he got one reissued, but that was under Jeff's name. So Jeff's no longer an employee here, so we need to get a recent updated permit. So I am trying to obtain that permit. I've reached out to Marilyn Smith and talked to her about kind of what programs does the city have for help in dealing with turkeys. And the response that kind of in short that I got is there really isn't a program that the city has to kind of help out with that. So they really look to ODFW or the Fish and Game Department to be able to give counsel on how to deal with birds. We're still investigating and looking to see what can be done. I was down, I don't know, somewhere down in the garden, and I saw the little tiny turkeys, and they were running around the garden beds and running all over. We chased them off, and they went out, but I'm sure as soon as we left, they came back. So it is a problem. We understand this, and we are trying to do a lot of different things. We've contacted the city, ODF&W. Dennis Sabine has reached out to me, and he asked if he could do some volunteering, just calling around and seeing what other things could be done. He reached out to ODF&W, and he was able to get through, so that's great. Talk to them. We would like to have someone from ODF&W come out and talk to our residents for education on turkeys. This probably won't be able to happen until December, just because of the fall, but we're looking to be able to have that done. So we're looking at different things that we can do, but this is something that we're dealing with entities that have restrictions on what can and can't be done. I don't know, but ODF&W does not trap turkeys unless there is a city ordinance to not feed turkeys. Albany does not have an ordinance like that. They have it in other places, and they have done trapping and removal of turkeys, but they don't currently do that unless that ordinance is in place in Albany. So there are ways that we can do this. The number one thing is to not feed the turkeys. Not feeding the turkeys is number one. I can't stress this enough to residents, so either intentionally feeding is number one. That immediately needs to stop, and that needs to not happen. And then there's an unintentionally with the bird feeders or other ways. Now, right now we have a garden, and the turkeys can walk down there, and they can probably feast for days. But we're trying to figure out ways to, keep the turkeys uncomfortable. So hazing permit, feed is another one. But there are, this is concerning, and we're working on, exploring different opportunities and different solutions. I can't personally go trap turkeys. I wish I could, because I get rid of them. But there are certain regulations that we can't do. So we're working on it. There's not an easy answer right now, but that doesn't mean that we've given up. So we're exploring. Question over here.
I think you can hear me. Who enforces the regulation against trapping turkeys or harassing them?
Oregon State Department of Fish and Wildlife does. So you are not allowed, the turkey is a wild game animal, and you are not allowed to harass any game animals. So that's why we have to have a permit from ODF&W in order to for a non-injurious harassing permit.
Hugh wanted to ask if they in fact enforce that.
Yes, they do.
My issue, or my statement, it's not a question. Tomorrow, the mayor is going to be at Ashwood Court 2 dining facility. I would encourage all of the independent living residents to go to Ashwood Court 2 dining and talk to the mayor about instituting a do not feed the turkeys policy at the city.
9 o'clock.
We had another one over here somewhere.
Ann Peltier, Area 5. What can you do with a hazing permit?
So a hazing permit is, you can use non-injurious, so you can't hurt the turkeys, but you can chase them, you can use your garden hose and you can hose them down. You can't get a slingshot and you can't shoot rocks at them because that's going to injure them. But you can chase them, make them feel uncomfortable, yell at them, whatever that looks like.
And if we want to do that, we need to individually go and get a permit to do so, if I recall correctly.
The permit that I'm seeking, and honestly I don't think ODF&W will issue one for staff and residents. I'm seeking one for staff to cover our staff. I believe some residents have gotten a hazing permit individually, and that can be done through ODF&W. And I can share contact information on how to do that and the course that I went through to get that.
One more here, Craig.
Wayne Deckard, Area 20. With your hazing, do you haze where they're roosting in the trees behind, next to the garden and behind the houses that face Foxglove Loop? There are a number of roosting trees there.
Yeah, wherever, and this would be great for residents to kind of report, if there's areas that they go in a certain tree every single day, let our grounds department know so that we can insert ourselves and try to do some hazing.
Patricia Hollenbeck, Area 13. I have a neighbor who continues to feed the turkeys and will not stop. I've talked with her, and I think maybe Independent Living has also talked with her. Somebody is supplying her if she's not buying it. And what can we do with somebody that's continuing to do that?
And that's the hardest part of this is, we can't allow feeding the turkeys. That needs to stop 100%. Until, ODF&W, if they find out that we're feeding turkeys, they're not going to trap and remove them, because as far as the turkeys are concerned, they're here because we want them here. So that needs to stop 100%. I'm working with Sue on, okay, how can we deal with that? I don't want to outlaw bird feeders, and I don't want to outlaw some of those those types of things for residents, because I think that's something that residents really enjoy. But
This is definitely
if it's
chicken food.
Yeah, if it's chicken food and you're feeding intentionally, then that needs 100% stop.
So will you come and enforce that?
If I have a name, I will go talk.
Okay.
Over here.
Sandy Lizard, Area 4. I believe that also with hazing, it needs to be a coordinated effort, because what happens is, with our backyard as an example, 53rd Street, people sweep the turkeys over to our area. Then to the other side of us, people come out and sweep the turkeys up. So we have a nice little area of turkeys, but those are not turkeys that are going off the property somewhere. I mean, somehow the Yellow Brick Road needs to lead, somewhere to where Turkey Central is.
It's like turkey football.
Turkey football, I like it. Yes, I actually was talking with Sue Curry about this, I think a week or so ago, trying to figure out if staff could coordinate efforts where, we would at 10 o'clock kind of do a full sweep of the village and try to get the turkeys pushed across the creek or something like that. Until I have that hazing permit, I'm not going to do anything because I don't want to get in trouble by ODF&W. But as soon as I have that hazing permit, we're going to start doing things like that where it's a coordinated effort. And if y'all want to join in, we'll chase birds till we're blue in the face.
We probably need that Yellow Brick Road to lead to the end of your report as well. So if you can wrap up, I'm going to suggest that we take a 5-minute break. And by 5 minutes, I mean 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes. So as soon as you're done, we'll take a break and then we'll reconvene. Oh, Mary Ann, just a second.
I have a question for Craig.
First of all, are you even finished?
I'm not finished, but I got 2 other things, but yes, I'll take questions.
Okay, my question is about 2.5 months ago, I brought a rusty fish hook that I had taken out of my dog's mouth in the dog park where people are still fishing every day. So my problem is fishing and dog park do not go together, and you've had 2.5 months to respond. please respond today.
So we are going to be, I think, later on in our council, we've talked with our council leadership about the dog park and about relocating the dog park, and so we're going to be looking at that here in the future in just a little bit. So more to come on that. All right. Grounds and maintenance, let's see, map your neighborhood. I think we've got all the grounds and maintenance staff stuff figured out. Map your neighborhood, so you should have received a packet of information, and this packet of information is the map your neighborhood information. If you have maps that are attached to this packet, that is because you turned in a map to us to refresh your map. If you don't have a map, then you didn't have any changes in your area. So these packets are to go to each individual resident. This is updated information on your area so that they can distribute this for emergency preparedness. We collected all this information, if you remember, back in June. Maybe it was, July, I can't remember. And then we updated all that information, and this is the new information. So please hand these out to your residents so that we get updated information in their hands in case we have an emergency. And then we'll get that all done. So I think that is it, unless there's any questions on Map Your Neighborhood. Okay.
25 after, back in your seats, please. Thank you. so let's convene. Folks, let's get going. Craig Spivey is not here today. I have been asked to announce to you that his census report will be available. It'll be in an addendum. There's a clarification point that came that I'm asked to speak to before we move to you two, and that is some folks want to know, oh, that's outside. Some folks want to know if it's possible for folks in the village to relinquish their cottage and to move to Ashwood 2. The answer to that is yes, you can, and the methodology is to get a hold of marketing and to ask to be put on the list. That's a new piece of information to me I've never heard before. I think it's important that you hear it again, or that you hear it like I did for the first time today. The second thing, before I lose the thread, is I want to shout out to Craig and his team. If you have not looked in that kitchen, do it before you leave today. It's spectacular. It's a major change, and we really appreciate your work. Okay, are you ready, Sue?
Okay, so new residents, we have new residents, and we did not meet last month, so we have a couple extra from, let me think, in July. So for July and August, we want to make sure that we give a big welcome to new residents on Kestrel, Brent and Rosemary Cusisto. I apologize if I didn't say that right. We also welcome on 53rd, Margaret Taves. On Foxglove Loop, Jocelyn and Mark Wagner. And on 54th Street, Jewel Wind and Anita Decker. So welcome to Mennonite Village to everyone. A few months ago, we started with resident satisfaction surveys, Pinnacle Quality Insight. I've been told they're now called Activated Insight. Pinnacle Activated, it's the same company. I think they just, got bought out higher up. So, I'll start out by saying that when we started, so we have results, June, July, and August, monthly surveys. Surveys are done by this third-party company called Pinnacle, and they conducted their surveys by telephone. So when they make a phone call and you answer, and if you want to participate in the survey, the satisfaction survey, the questions that you're being asked, you're asked by a real person. So it's a conversation. It's not a check marks, it's not a tally, it's not that, it's more personal. And our 3 care areas have been using Pinnacle for a very long time, and they're a trustworthy and reputable third-party company that many communities, senior living communities that we know of, that we're peers with, they use the same company. So we trusted them, and they've been doing a great job. So there was a mistake that we made on our side at Mennonite Village, inadvertently uploaded emergency contact information instead of resident information because all 3 care areas, their emergency contact information was uploaded, and we were very different and we were brand new. So because residents called me and asked me why that was happening, we were able to correct that mistake early in the day of day 2 of surveys. So I don't know how many resident emergency contacts were called, a small handful. We apologize for that, and it was a name and it was a phone number that was listed as emergency contact. Those people did participate in the survey. So the survey, also important to know, is every month, when we signed a contract for a year, and it will be just ongoing until we terminate that contract, 28 residents per month. The goal is to reach 5% of our census every month for a total of 60% over the course of a year. And then we'll just do that again next year. So I just wanted to give you some information directly from Activated Insight that they adhere by a set of rules and standards to protect their customer data in accordance with applicable HIPAA guidelines. Their employees complete HIPAA training annually. Residents' personal information is not sold by Activated Insights to other parties. Resident rosters are loaded through a password-protected Activated Insights portal, which means we upload the information through a protected portal to Activated Insights. This data is available only to Mennonite Village employees who have been provided the secure login onto their platform, and only to designated Activated Insights employees with that HIPAA clearance. Their employees also adhere to a set of internal data handling guidelines that dictate how data can be transferred, shared, and stored internally to ensure HIPAA compliance. I just wanted to make sure that I read that to you. That's directly from Insight. Just clarifying, their adherence to your information. The surveys are important to have in place. For 5 years prior to June, Independent Living has had one satisfaction survey done, and it was always a question of when are we going to do the next one, both by staff and by you, residents, because we all perceived that it was very important. Now that we're doing it every month, hopefully reaching a great majority of you who are very active in the community, now I'm hearing, why are we doing this, and do I have to participate? So, resident satisfaction surveys, we want to hear, we want to learn from you directly what's going well and what we can improve on, right? That's what the satisfaction survey is about. So if you don't want to participate in a satisfaction survey, I guess you have two options. You can not answer the phone when they call, or you can just simply tell them that you don't wish to participate. And that's fine too, it's all voluntary. And if you're questioning how will I know not to answer the phone, we have shared the phone number. There's a flyer, I know there's one on the bulletin board out here, came out in your update several months back. I think it's posted over at Mary's Place as well. The phone number you can save in your phone under however you want to store it. Survey, Pinnacle, whatever. Do not answer, however you want to do that. But it's up to you. It's all voluntary. But if you do participate, we do all benefit from it so that we can improve and that we can congratulate and support our winnings too, because that's important. So, because we are a very lengthy meeting, I'm not going to go into all of the information, but I will, as far as the results of the survey, I will give it to Linda for adding on to the minutes, but I do want to just go over the favorability rating for 3 months. The favorability rating it's basically, would you refer Mennonite Village to others? So in June, it was 95%. In July, it was 94%. And in August, it was 93%. And we have top 3 key drivers, low key drivers. So we focus on, how can we improve, and we look at the lower 3. Communication has been in every single month. We know that. So we are working on how, and you heard a lot of different ways already today, new things that are coming up, how we can improve in communication, how we can improve on hearing you so that we can perform better for you. Okay, so surveys. and the transportation focus group, and we've been meeting, question.
One very quick question. Jean Amundsen, Area 15. Did you say that there's been a name change to Pinnacle Quality Insight? Because I heard you say Activated Insight.
Right, Pinnacle Quality Insight is now Activated Insight.
Okay, so that's important to communicate, I think. The comment is, we did get contacted, and I hadn't set the phone number by the phone, and the person who called did not say Pinnacle Quality Insight Survey. I forget what they said, but I was fuzzy for a few minutes to make sure that it was indeed them who were calling. So please let them know that.
Okay, I will. I appreciate your feedback. When I did ask them, the lady that we're in contact for customer service, I asked how you might receive that phone call, and what I was told was the caller should call and introduce themselves from, at the time it was Pinnacle Quality Insight, on behalf of Mennonite Village. Okay.
How many responses in those 3 months did you get?
I don't have the total numbers with me today. I know there's 28 surveys per month. I can follow up with you on exactly how many responses we have gotten, just not this second. There's 28 surveys per month.
But can all of them answer the phone? That's my question.
Correct. I can follow up with that for sure.
That was Judy Singer, Area 21. That was really helpful to know how many they're doing per month, because I sent out an email to my area before this meeting, and out of 11 households, one was unsure whether they actually answered the survey or not. One didn't reply to my email, but 9 out of the 11 haven't gotten a call. Another suggestion is maybe put out the phone number again in one of the updates, so that we have that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so the focus group for transportation, we've been meeting regularly, and we just wanted to let you know what's been happening. The group's created a real nice document that outlines the who, what, when, and where types of information for transportation options. Alternative transportation is all of the different kinds of ways to get around Albany, Lebanon, Corvallis, even maybe Eugene, Salem, or the coast. So this document's intended to be informational and easy for you to use. Not only for you of independent living, but we want to make sure that we share it with the residents at Quail Run as well, because they're very active folks too. And then two, with the staff who help organize transportation for other residents, because we feel like that's important as well. So we're hoping to have this information in several areas on campus, areas that are not just a Monday through Friday office, like maybe having it in here, maybe having it at Mary's Place, different places that are accessible for you any time of the day or day of the week. And then we're also working out the final details for being able to request the bus for special trips. So we're working on that. We've got the details kind of lined out, I shouldn't say lined out, but updated from previous years. And I know Craig and I are going to get together on that and work on the last couple of things, and hopefully that'll be coming around real soon for you. The next thing on my list is to let you know that the Lynn County Clerk's Office contacted Mennonite Village. They contacted me, they've contacted a couple other staff members as well, to ask to be in front of residents for general voter information. And we felt like this is a really good opportunity for information to get out to everybody. What I was told by the clerk's office is that they do a lot of updating of information to different senior communities because people may have forgotten to change their address with their voter's card. And so some people don't get their ballots. And the big thing that sparked in my mind, which I had never thought about before, but the signature on the back of your voter's envelope has to match the office, the database in the clerk's office. So the database, he said, primarily is on signatures from the 90s. And I don't know about you, but my signature's changed over time. And if your signature on your envelope doesn't match what they have in their database, your ballot is kicked out to the trash. And so I think that that's really important for all of us to learn the information directly from the clerk's office on how to make sure that our votes count if you're sending in the mail-in votes. So October 8th at 3 o'clock here in the large room, the Lynn County Clerk's office is going to be here, and they will bring 3 staff, and they will bring all of the cards and information and all of the stuff for you to update and get informed and change your address and whatever.
What time?
3 o'clock.
Can we change our signature then too?
Yes. So most definitely he's going to bring the signature cards. I say he because I talked to a man.
Yeah.
They will bring signature cards so that you can update your signature with them. Okay? We're going to also ask for the transportation for Quail Run to come over here too. And Mennonite Home is also having a presentation just for their residents as well, so it's very important. Okay, I've been asked to speak about contact lists. We have emails going out, it seems like all the time, right? We're always sending emails to you guys. We use the system Constant Contact. We use that software, Constant Contact. And the emails come from primarily Jennifer, Craig Spivey, maybe Wellness. Sometimes Holly sends out some emails. The questions that come to us is clarify, can you please clarify the list? What list are you pulling from? So there's a lot of different lists that we have. But within Constant Contact, the primary list we have labeled independent living residents. That's what and everybody that has an email that wants to participate in receiving these emails from Mennonite Village, your email and your name is in that list of an independent living resident. What we do when we create that email, we click that one, we check that box, and it's going to generate an email to go out to everybody within that list. There are other lists in there. I think lists that don't get used often. Marketing has their own list for people who are on the wait list, lots of different lists. So if you want emails from Mennonite Village, general emails, emails are sent out to receive the agenda today. The Village Times are sent out by that email. Notices if Grounds has information that urgently needs to go out to everybody as soon as possible. That's one of our vehicles of transportation, is the email. So if you want those emails and you're not getting them, you need to let Jennifer or I know, or Charlene. We can double check to see if your name's on there. With that system, at the bottom, the emails will come out as most emails, you can unsubscribe. If you unsubscribe, you're taken out of that pool. It's like it's void in there. And Constant Contact tells us that we can add you back one time. I don't know if there's a loophole around that. I hope not. I mean, I hope so. But sometimes people unsubscribe, and we're able to add you back one time. So hopefully you just be careful what you check and don't check for that. But if you're having problems, just let us know. I think do you have any questions about those lists? I have a question. We also have the village directories, which you are very familiar with. The village directories have name, address, phone number, area, email. They are updated all the time as people move in and move out, get new phone numbers, get new email addresses. They're updated all the time. So if you want one of those directories, just ask us and we'll print you one hot off the press.
Carolyn Ladd, Area 17. Is it basically the responsibility of the area rep to let people in our area that do not have emails or do not have a computer? How do people without a computer get information?
Right, and we staff, we need to do a better job of saying on that email, please share with your neighbors, or if you have people in your area that without email, please communicate. I do assume that the information is shared out there, and I shouldn't assume, but we do ask area reps a lot of different things. If it's information that goes out, then it would be helpful if you know that your neighbor doesn't have email, that you mention it.
Okay, I think we're there. Thank you very much, Sue. We really appreciate it. You'll see, if you look at your agenda, that we've got a couple of items listed. We want to remind you of the elections process that is taking place. We are still pulling together through our nominating committee potential people to add. We do have some nominations that have come into us, but both Patricia and I want to remind you that neither of our names will appear on the ballot for next year's president and vice president. I've said this 3 or 4 ways, I'm going to say it again. We will not be back in these seats. So please talk to your neighbors. Please drum this up at your area meetings when you meet. And we want to have a list of candidates for you by next month. The next item we have goes directly to what you just said, Sue, and that is that area representative duties and responsibilities have, in the minds of several of you, continued to expand to an extent that you're uncomfortable taking on those roles. We have an excellent group of area reps at this time. We've had an excellent run during this year with responsiveness, with your ability to present questions, to seek answers, and to move forward. What we want to do, and this comes as a result of a request that was made, is that we would formulate a committee, an ad hoc committee, that would go through the process of reviewing what the expectations are as they're currently stated and what you're experiencing that you would like to see clarified. In order to create that committee, we need to have a motion to do so and a second. And if we get a motion and a second, then we'll vote on whether or not the council would like to move forward with this request.
So
We have, and state your name again.
you walk up there, please.
We have a motion, thank you. We have a motion. Do we have a second? We have a second from Larry. Discussion? You?
Hugh Walkup, Area 26. My first grade teacher, Mrs. K, said, don't be a bossy pants. always ask for someone to do something for you and say please.
Please consider this motion. Mel?
Mel Huffman, Area 25. Personally, I think the responsibilities of the area reps are fairly well delineated in the bylaws as they stand right now.
Thank you for that, Mel. Just a second, I got you.
Sandy Lissett, Area 4. I'm speaking to Mel with this. There is either a true conception or a misconception about whether or not the area rep is responsible for the for your situation in the emergency preparedness team. There were also emergency preparedness group leaders, but that kind of somehow disappeared at least in our area. So that's a huge responsibility, which some area reps don't want.
Mel Huffman, Area 25, in response to Sandy's statement. The Emergency Preparedness Committee, which I either rightly or wrongly perceive as the target of this, has never demanded that area reps do anything. We've asked area reps to do it. We've also encouraged every area to identify someone to be the area emergency coordinator. That person would interface with the Emergency Preparedness Committee and give us guidance, et cetera, et cetera. So the area reps, if they've read their duties in the bylaws of the council, should understand that they don't have to do if they're, I'm going to say it anyway, if they're wise, they will ask their residents to assist and delegate some of this stuff. Now, if the residents, I'm going to piss somebody off. If the residents don't have the gumption to participate in this village, we've got a problem.
I thank you both for those clarifying questions. I think it's now time, as a point of order, to call the question. So all those in favor of forming this ad hoc committee to flush out these very things that have just been talked about and others that I believe probably exist, I would like now to call for the vote. All those in favor signify by holding up your hands.
Would you repeat the motion, please?
Can you read back the motion as it was stated, Linda? Okay. Hugh, will you restate the motion because we don't have it recorded at this point?
Let's see, I don't have it in front of me either. I don't have the motion in front of me, but it's that a task force be convened to consider, okay, thank you. I recommend that an ad hoc committee be formed to consider an alternative process for the council or its executive committee to consider requests for area representative assistance.
Thank you. Did you clearly understand that the first time? And if you did not, does that change your willingness to now vote? I'm really going to push us to try to wrap up here, but I want you all as area reps to have a chance at the end of this, as we finish the meeting, to pass the mic around and get input that you'd like. Are you ready to vote?
Call for the question.
The question's been called for. All in favor, and please hold your hands up long enough that we can get a count of forming this ad hoc committee. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All those opposed? You got 11? Okay, thank you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Motion carries. We'll move forward to create this committee, ad hoc committee. We don't have new business to bring to the table, and we don't have action items from previous council meetings. So at this time, we'd like to entertain your participation as area reps to ask your questions and make your comments.
Rufus Stallone, I'm in proxy for Marilyn. She's over in the Mediterranean cooking in Greece. I just have a couple turkey facts I wanted to place forward before the council and forward in directing to the whole village. Turkeys we know are a problem that's been addressed well. I'm going to play the safety and health issue of the turkeys on our campus. Scat, you know what that is? That's droppings from animals. The scat volume from one male turkey is an average of 1 yardstick long per day. Okay, per day. They usually have, if you had 15 male turkeys, that would be a football field worth of droppings from just the males. Scat can carry human and pet diseases. I'm calling this forth for dogs specifically. The fungal disease can be passed on to dogs from their fecal matter. If you walk around here a lot, you see it's on the roads. It's got to be a lot more in the grasses. We just can't see it because they're in the grass. If they pick it up on their feet and they lick their feet, they can get a disease. More importantly, there's a bacterial disease. It's a type of chlamydia. It's not the one that has to do with sexual transmission. It has to do with just a bacteria that causes the same thing that is called parrot fever with bird keepers. Turkeys have been found, after the study done in 2020, to be the #1 species to carry that disease. That does not mean that every pile of scat on campus from the turkeys has either one of these diseases, the fungal, the bacteria, but it doesn't mean they don't. So I think it's a challenge when we as management people force or encourage our villagers to stop feeding the turkeys, that there's a health and safety issue relative to their pets. A lot of people have dogs here, and to individuals. That's it.
Thank you.
Ann Peltier, Area 5. I had a question from one of my residents, and I wasn't exactly sure where to take it or what to do, but it's they asked that the shuffleboard be repainted, and I didn't know, since that was a village-wide thing, you know, what we should do with that.
Yeah, so we have gotten that request previously, and so yeah, we'll look into getting that repainted.
Thank you.
Marion Kirk, Area 11. I dropped off in front of every area rep a paper that says, if you have any questions, concerns, hear anything you want to check out, here's what you do. I gave this out to every one of the people in my area, Area 11, and I strongly suggest that you give it out to the people in your area. I think it's helpful to know where to go with your questions and how to get your questions answered. Thing number 2, and the last thing is, about 6 weeks ago, I took a rusty fish hook out of my dog's mouth in the park at 9 o'clock at night. And Craig said you would deal with this when I gave that to you 6 weeks ago or 2 months ago. And you also said earlier in the meeting that you would address this at the end of the meeting, and now it is the end of the meeting, and we still have dogs this morning in a fishing department. So please answer this. Do you have dogs, Craig? Yes. Do you? I'd like to see what you do on a Friday night at 9 o'clock with a fish hook in your dog's mouth.
And Mary Ann, please understand, I heard you 100%. The biggest thing with having a dog area in the lake is we need to figure out how to get the dog park or the dog off-leash area out of the lake area.
You've had 2.5 months to figure it out.
And we have
Years.
been conversing about this.
Not
This-
good enough, Craig. Not
Okay.
good enough.
And so, yes, this is an area, we're working with the village council leadership. We were going to extend we would like residents, because it has been 2 years since we've talked about the dog park, and things have changed. There's more, I've had a lot of input from other residents, new residents in the last 2 years, about wanting to have a dog park. So this hasn't dropped off the world. It is on my desk and I am working on it. It may not appear that way to you, but it is something we've been working on.
Nothing you have to say today satisfies me.
I'd like to add to what you said, in that this issue was re-examined recently, and it was at my request that some further footwork be done and some additional design items be considered with the location of a new park. So Mary Ann, I'm partly responsible for the delay in this process. I've got a dog, I understand your frustration, and I would like to move on to the next person.
Mel Huffman, Area 25. Going to change the topic here. I've already talked to Craig about this, so he knows it's coming. But actually, it's not really aimed at Craig. It's the frustration that I know many, many residents are experiencing with this Wi-Fi boondoggle. The idea that we convert over to the Wi-Fi being provided by the village, etc., sounded nice at the beginning. The day the Wi-Fi system was installed is the day that our printing capability went down the cracker. We submitted a work order, and it was well over 2 weeks before IT deigned to respond to that work order. They came out. Now let me back up and say, I've been playing in electronics for 50 years. I've been a certified network administrator, a certified network engineer, and a certified network instructor. So I know a little bit about what networks are all about. And I was waiting that when the persons from IT arrived, I was waiting for, well, did you update the drivers? I had to bite my tongue on that one, folks. So magically, they went and did everything that I had done multiple times. We got it to work until the bloody printer went to sleep, and then it didn't work again. So after frustration, last Thursday, I went to Staples and bought an HP printer. Now, I don't mean to step on anybody's toes, but I consider HP printers to be garbage. But I went and bought an HP printer. And I don't understand the technology, how this happens, but that bloody printer worked. My Canon printer won't work. IT has said Epson printers won't work. Why in the hell do we have to go and buy an HP printer to get Wi-Fi printing to work? That is flat out unsad. And I think Mennonite Village should be very, very heavy on Xfinity's tail about getting this situation unscrewed.
Patricia Hollenbeck. One thing that I did with the turkeys was to contact the health department, and Rufus addressed it quite nicely. And they just passed me on to ODF, and if that's the right acronym. And I too feel like it is very unhealthy. and that we walk on the sidewalks and the grass, and there is enough for all of us to step in it. The other thing is, when will Xfinity give us a refund on our returned landline?
I think I can answer that.
Okay.
You have to, at least from my perspective, I've been waiting also. I went down to Xfinity downtown, and I have a number that I'd be happy to share. I called, talked to a wonderful woman who took my information, and they have to actually get a ticket for you for the refund.
And I keep getting later.
No, I have a number that they gave me that takes you to the person, and when you do it, I'll be glad, I don't know how I can share it, but I can give it to somebody. And
Put it in the minutes. Put it in the minutes.
Okay, I'll get that to you. And what you do, I think the first one you say English, whatever that is. The second one, it does something, don't even ask. The second, I tried to go to residential because I thought residential, don't do that. Go to bulk, and you actually get somebody to talk to you. They take your information, and within 3 days, it was on my credit card. So, because that's how I pay. So, I can give you that and see if that works for you, but that's what I did, because I got tired of waiting also.
As we move toward a record to make this one of the longest meetings in history. Go ahead, Judy.
Judy Singer, Area 21, and I really appreciate you letting me take the time to read this, because now I can get a good night's sleep, because it won't be going through my head all the time. Just a little background that I think people need and would like to have on the bottle can deposit issue. Some area independent living residents may not know that when they put out their discarded items for recycle, the grounds crew still has to sort through the cardboard, papers, plastics, glass, and cans, because some items can't be recycled. When they find bottles or cans with deposits, they put them aside in a separate container. Through word of mouth, some residents start putting items with deposits separate from the rest of the recycle to make it easier for grounds crew to sort. Nothing else is done with these items during work hours. At some point, after hours, they would take the bottles and cans to the bottle drop. Money from this was later used after hours for an occasional team activity such as a pizza party. This practice is even mentioned in the recycle video that I recently watched. This practice has been going on for many years, until a couple of months ago it was decided that these bottles and cans should go to the foundation. For the very small amount of money involved, it is taking away a practice that has meant a great deal to the grounds crew and independent living residents. Through our discarded bottles and cans, it was a very small way of thanking them for all they do for us on a frequent basis that generally goes unacknowledged. In all of the notices about this new foundation program, it repeatedly says this is completely optional. Some of this was addressed earlier, but I'm still going to read it. But what does that really mean? If independent residents want to participate in the foundation program, then they should. But optional should also mean that if residents want to continue to setting aside bottles and cans for the grounds crew, then they can. But I checked. Currently, all bottles and cans are added to the foundation program. Then I added, it has been mentioned that the grounds crew taking our discarded bottles and cans is against staff policy. But is it? They are setting aside these items as part of sorting recycle items. All other handling is done after hours. Also, the foundation program began on August 30, but I found out that for months, all bottles and cans with deposits put out for recycle have already been collected and stored for the foundation program, even though it officially didn't start until